first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, on the right hand side of your slide release, or slide lock, I'm sorry, there's a screw. So you're definitely going to need a screwdriver that's small enough to get into this little area here. And it is pretty small, so if you, like I said, if you're not using anything that's big enough, you're going to have issues. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is a little hard to do right off when it's right from the factory, so it's a little snug, but like I said, using the right size Phillips screwdriver is going to be the ticket here. This is a very small screw, so make sure, like I was saying, that you're doing this on an area that you're going to be able to hold all of the parts together. Okay, so once you get this undone, set that screw, like I was saying, look at how small this bad boy is. And it looks like they do put some sort of thread lock on there, so that's why it's a little tight, and it's very important that you're using the right size Phillips head screw, because if you do not do that, what may happen is you'll strip that and then you won't be able to get into it. So from this point, you actually can, one of these sides right here will come off, which is the side that you are actually using. So you do have to finagle it just a little bit. And then this will come off here. There we go. So you can see that this fits perfectly. It has a groove that goes right into this area, so you don't need to worry about that coming off or anything like that. From that point, you can just remove the other side now. And what I like to do is I'll just actually take an Allen key or something, and I'll tap it out from the opposite side, just because it's a little bit easier that way, and this is a snug piece. Okay, here we go. So there you go, there you have it. So like I said, there is a little adhesive there, so that's why it's a little snug. But this will get tapped out, so you keep those two pieces there, and what you have left is that hole. So as you can see, there's this hole right here that part went into. You're going to see a spring, and I'm going to show you that here closer on this side, on this hole. That is the spring that allows it to be this piece to go up and down. So from this point, you have 3 pins. You have one right here behind the area that the slide lock that we just took off, and then one right here. One side does have knurling on it, so you need to make sure that you hit the pin out from the correct side. So if you encounter a lot of resistance on one side, it's probably because the knurling is on that side. So hit it from the opposite side. So the back pin looks like the knurling is on the left-hand side, so you're going to want to hit it from the right to the left. Okay, so as you can see, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. You got some knurling right here on this side of the pin. So you'll want to hit it from that back side. The next pin is a little bit smaller. Looks like it has a rounded front, so you can be able to tap that out. Let's see here. So if it doesn't go out from that side, it's probably because the knurling's on that side. So you want to, like I said, hit it from the opposite side. There we go. Looks like tap it in from this side. So the knurling was on the opposite side. It was just a little tough. There we go. Well, tapping it a couple times will definitely get it out. So it looks like the knurling was on the left side as well. So it may be that the knurling is on the left for all these pins. So that'll be good news. So you just hit it from the right side to the left. Yep, looks like that is true. So found out something new every day. You're gonna hit from the right side of the pistol to the left, and that will remove the pins. From this point, you will see the pistol lift up and remove itself from the shell. Now, there's nothing that you need to do as far as maintenance, all right, to even really break this down, but we wanted to show you exactly how it's done. So you just have your shell body here. There is a spring on this right-hand side that you're gonna wanna keep an eye on, but it doesn't go anywhere. So you apply some grease there if really need be. From this point, you have your here. Let this come up. You have your velocity pin. This is your linkage arm to your hammer and your trigger. So we'll go ahead and release this up. There we go. All right. So here's your major components. This is your hammer right here. This is actually hits the pin that's located in the top slide here that then engages the firing pin of the magazine. So like we had talked about, the magazine has the brains, pretty much the whole operation. So if anything fails, it's most likely going to be in here. And we'll do a separate video on disassembly of the magazine so that way you can see it as well. So in order to take out this hammer here, you actually have to move it forward. You lift up the back hammer, and it's pretty tough because there's oil on it. So you have to lift it up with your finger. Let's see if I can do it for you here. It's hard to even use a tool. There we go. All right, so you lift it up with your finger, or you can use this tool. All you do is just lift it up, and this will come right out. So here is your hammer. It hits the pin that I was talking about, which is located right here. And this has grease on it. You can actually see this rubber gasket visually from the when the slide is in the rear position. You can actually look from the bottom and you'll see the back part of this pin, this part right here that the hammer engages. Then you have your trigger component here. Here is that spring I was telling you about that is basically, it allows the slide lock to go up and down, and it's spring related. So when you're out of projectiles in the pistol, you will be able to, you'll know because that slide lock will go up from this spring right here. Then you have your small return spring, and this is all fits in with a groove here, and it's very easy to disassemble. And then of course you have your barrel assembly right here. As far as maintenance on these components, you really don't need to do anything. There's no reason for this pistol to be opened up because these parts actually do not encounter any air or anything like that. So the only friction that this will encounter while it's on the slide is actually on the sides here, and you can oil this from the outside of the pistol. So I just wanted to show you, like I said, for the disassembly of the pistol to show you how to do it. There's no reason, like I said, to get in here unless you break a part. But now you at least know how to do it. So it's made into three major components. You have your hammer, your actual trigger assembly is connected to the barrel assembly, and then you have your return spring. So let's go ahead and reassemble here. So what you can do, take your linkage arm here. This goes into a hole. It's pretty simple, self-explanatory. Everything fits together, so you will know that you did not install it correctly because you won't be able to obviously put it back together. For your hammer mechanism, it goes right in here into the top, and then like I was saying, you're going to need to lift up the hammer as you slide back. There we go. And now it won't go anywhere because when you put it into the track, it goes right in through here, but you have to lift up this hammer, this part right here. So there's a part for you to get a little Allen key and just lift it up with your finger while pressing down and then slide it back. From this point, it will not go anywhere. Okay? Then you can go ahead and put in your trigger mechanism again. Let's see, we'll put it up through this way. Your return spring and everything is very easy to put in. What you can do is, like I said, it does fit into a groove. So you'll be able to, if you look at it this way, just like that, it fits right into the front here. And then from here, you can push forward on the spring to expose the return rod that the spring is around, and push the assembly forward. So it moves out, and then you can lock this rod back into place. There you go. So this is the spring that goes over the guide rod that I was just talking about, the return guide rod. You use your fingers to push back, pull back that spring and move the assembly forward so the return rod can go back into this hole, and then you'll be able to put the linkage arm that connects the hammer to the trigger grouping back on here and it'll lock into place. From this point, all you need to do is assemble back on top to the lower body here. It goes right on just like that. You'll know that it's even because, like I said, it goes right on top. Everything fits right into place. And then from here, you're going to want to insert the pin that you took out in the center here, because the holes are actually going to this hole is going to get covered up from the body here, are the two slide lock pins. So as you see, you'll just tap it back into place. This side, this time you're going to want to install from the opposite side because the knurling is on that left side. So you go ahead and you just put it on there. So you put your pins. You can actually put all 3 pins in right now if you want to. So remember, you want to install from the left to the right side and then tap down that knurling so that way it does catch and you won't have any issues with that. And there you have it. So as you can see, I can go back and forth, fire, fire, fire. The only last component that I need to put on is the slide lock. So this spring, like I was talking to you about earlier, you can see it in here. It's actually blocking the hole. You can see it right through there. What you're going to do is you're going to take your slide lock and you're going to push down on that spring so it catches, so it's underneath it essentially. So what I like to do is I take a small Allen and then I will go ahead and insert together. Let's see here. Yeah, I actually want to do it from the opposite side. Might be a little bit easier so that way you can push this right on through. There we go. So it's right on there, and then you take your other side of your slide lock, and this will only, it fits perfectly into that groove because it has a rectangular cutout that allows it to go up and down. And you can see here, I push up, it's in place and installed correctly. The last part of this is just this screw. Go ahead and set that screw in. Make sure you want to make sure you're using the correct size Phillips screwdriver head, so that way you do not strip this screw. This screw is very important. It will hold that slide lock into place. Doesn't need to be over torqued, just when it's nice and snug. There we go. Let's put it in a magazine here. Put a CO2 just so we can check it. Put our back strap back on. Works perfectly fine. There you have it.